Hello everyone, welcome to a new video. In this one I wanted to do something a little bit different, and I wanted to give my impression, a casual player's impression of the Season 2 and how everything is so far. Before I get into the positives, the negatives, and all the other stuff, I wanted to show you where I am and the progression. So currently made it to level level 31 of 100. All the juicy rewards are towards the end, obviously, but played a good amount of it. Haven't really dedicated a lot of time to it. Again, casual player, a couple hours a day, probably less sometimes. But even just through the course of playing the game, logging on for a few minutes here and there, not really focusing on getting anything really done, I was able to get to 31, I would say, rather quickly. So there, I think I completed a bunch of activity cards. Let's take a look at how many. 12 so far. Again, nothing major. I would complete a random amount of these activities that I could do kind of easily and then finish the card. I wouldn't finish every card at 3. Some of these are very, very easy and kind of flow easy together. So I end up doing more than you need. And then on the journey side, I haven't really done much here. Closed out a few things. Working on the PvP arena matches here and there. Actually, this has gotten me into arena, which I'm starting to really like. And then some things here on chapter 2, few things like on chapter 3, same with 4, and then I think going towards 5. So, and do I have any? I have one challenge so far, and some progress on some of this stuff. Again, nothing too special, very casual, I would say. On these, but I just wanted to give, from my perspective, kind of what I saw as positives and some of the negatives of this season. So first off, I'd like to start off with the positives. I think the season had a really nice story. And the story quest was really good. Even though there was some bugs in the beginning, that was worked through. I did make a video of the whole story quest. If you're wanting to see it, you can. But I like the fact that they took where we ended up in season 1 and really carried that into season 2 with a different story, but your core group of friends, the Silver Crows, tracking you into story 2 or season 2. So it doesn't feel like it's like one and then siloed seasons. It kind of seems like a nice progression. So I really like that about the story, and it was very nice. Second piece is they give you plenty of time to get the season done. So you had, I think it was 80 something days when the season first started. So 3 months. I think even as a casual player, if you log in a couple hours a day here and there, you'll be able to complete this, get to level 100 without too many problems. You do have to get, I think you do have to get to 60 first, otherwise it would probably be difficult. But if you're a fresh player and you just got to 60, you're going to get a lot of loot out of doing these activities, and a lot of gypsum orbs that are going to get you expertise. So again, from a casual player perspective, plenty of time to get everything done. Next piece that's really good is they have solid rewards. You have a good amount of umbral shards, a good amount of gypsum orbs spread throughout, like worthwhile things that you can get, but nothing that's like life-changing, at least not in the again, I'm talking about the free track. On the pay track, I think it's a little bit different, but I don't think it's anything that discounts the end game at all. So you still have to do the end game of the game, not just seasonal stuff, to get the best equipment. None of these chests will drop something that's like, wow, amazing. It's basically RNG. So you could get something that's good, you could get something that is not so good, but I think I like it that way. I don't think that seasons should override the end game content in any sense. I think it should be a kind of in addition to, or a supplemental thing, not a okay, now we have seasons and you don't have to do anything else. So I think they did a very good job at that. Another great thing, again, we're going to go back to the UI here, is I think they did a better job with the activity cards. I think they are a little bit easier to do. I don't think they have any like crazy wild things that need to be done on them. Like the activities are a little bit better than season 1, like play 2 songs. Usually, and of course not now when I'm trying to film, but usually they have the kill the desert walkers that you can do in the dig site here. So if you wanted to rush through and get a bunch of cards done, you can basically just go to the place right here. You can kill what are they called? The desert let's see, dune walkers, I believe. There should be a dune walkers. Jeez. Alright, so dune walkers, and name dune walkers, and then ancients and the bugs that are around in this area. And basically then you would hit re-roll activities, get those activities again, and be able to knock out 3 and finish the card. If you really wanted to do it that way. But again, the activities themselves seem to be slightly better than Season 1, and they seem to be a little bit less grindy from my liking. Alright, and the next part is the changes that came with the positive part, the changes that came with Season 2, which is the UI changes. I really appreciate the new UI, just changing of the colors, opening of chests, the way that they open and kind of display loot. I think all of that was an improvement on what we had in the past, and I think it's really good. So really happy with that. And I think that wraps it up for the positives. I think overall a good amount of the positives. I do have a couple of negative experiences on my end with the game and after Season 2 launched, and those are lag, and specifically lag in Brimstone Sands in New Corsica. Every time I go here, it takes forever to just run out of the town. The rest of the world, not so much, but just New Corsica, a ton of lag. And this is, although I probably did a part of this to myself because I play on US East, and I'm in the southwestern United States in Arizona, so that's not optimal, but I'm not the only person complaining about lag either. I think a ton of people on Reddit and in the game itself are complaining about or having the same issue. So it's not a single person issue. The other thing that was slightly disappointing, I wouldn't even call it a massive negative, was the bugs that they had with the season quest. They had plenty of time to get through the quests and make sure that there is no bugs in the PTR, and there was a lot of people playing the PTR, so that should have been worked out. That those types of bugs that just stop you kind of in your tracks shouldn't happen. So that's definitely one of those negatives in Season 2. Now, and honestly, that's all that I had for negatives. Now, on top of just the positives of the season itself and everything that was brought, there was a couple of side effects that the Season 2 release had that I think are really, really positive thing for the overall game. First and foremost to me is increase in PvP participation, specifically in the 3v3 arenas. And I'm assuming that has to do with those being added to the activity cards, and then at the same time to the journey and to the challenges, to be able to get some of these titles. So it's really good, and honestly, just doing those arenas has kind of opened up an area of the game that I didn't really care too much about in the past, but having to do it for the season progression, I did a few matches and I was like, oh my god, this is actually pretty cool. This is, a fun way to spend time in game. It doesn't take too much time. You queue in for a couple of minutes, and then I think your standard match 5, 10, 15 minutes. Usually they've been over rather quick for the most part. And then if you're 1%er and you're min-maxing, that might not be such a great thing for you, but for a casual like myself, it's awesome. Whether I win or lose, having them over quickly means just more opportunities to win. So that's how I see it, at least. So I really appreciated that. And then the other two things kind of are very related that are positive results. There's been an overall increase, at least on my server, to the amount of players playing the game. As you can see, we're in Shattered Mountain right now. Again, not any of the major areas, but there's a few players here. There's a ton of from what it seems like, a ton of players that came back, and then there's also a good amount of new players that are leveling their characters. If you're out in the world or you're doing anything, you'll notice a bunch of 30s, 40s, 50s, 60 level characters running around and leveling up, and I think that's really good for just overall for the community and for the game. So I'm really, really happy to see that in the game. So overall, just a kind of a summary of things. I think that season 2 is overall, I think, positive for the game. It brought out a lot of things that it added to the game, and it had a positive impact, I think, on the game as well. Now, being a casual that I am, I haven't even had the opportunity to do the main feature of this season, which is the raid, the sandworm raid, but hopefully one day. And I don't know if anybody's actually been able to kill the sandworm so far. I'm assuming it's been too many days since the release, but I know that there was a good challenge of getting that sandworm killed. Several of the streamers that I watch were attempting to get it done in hours and hours of attempts. So I'm happy that there's also more content for the the non-casuals to use their time on. So again, I think it overall very happy with season 2, both from a casual perspective and from the things that I could see for the high-end raiders, the high-end PvEers. Not a ton of changes for the PvP side, besides obviously the new arena layout, which is pretty good. I mean, it gives you a little bit of evading, but I don't think not as much as the PvP or the PvE. They didn't get as much as the PvEers. So overall, thumbs up for season 2. And that's it, folks. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Where you think I'm wrong. on my opinions.